The entire Eastern Conference, Jay, revolved around Giannis. Two-time MVP. He was also the Defensive Player of the Year, top seed, trying to win their first championship in 50 years, got the Supermax. Let's build around him. What do you want? We go from all of that, the entire axis of the Eastern Conference revolving around Giannis. By the way, now the planets are revolving around another team. How quickly it can change.
Yeah, and I actually think, Milwaukee's been playing really good basketball as of late. Won 3 games in a row. I will say that the Bogdan Bogdanović deal that didn't go through, where he ended up going to another team, to the Atlanta Hawks, I think ultimately could hinder this team from getting out of the East. Now, look, there's always going to be that question, how does Giannis handle things down the stretch as far as making big shots? Can Jrue Holiday, can Chris Middleton, can those guys be the clutch players that Milwaukee needs? I still think they will be there, but the Nets will be by far the favorite in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, by far. It's not, they're bringing in Harden, you get Kyrie back, and I didn't think that they were far off without James Harden. I felt like that the Nets would probably be the team to come out of the East in the first place. But now the question begs of what's going to go through Giannis's mind when, in fact, he looks up at the end of the season and they're not in a position to make a strong run for a championship, or they get bounced in the playoffs early. What clicks to his mind when he's now signed a long-term extension? They went out there and got a player for him. And so Jrue Holiday is now in the mix. What happens? Where does his mind go? Should he have not signed the extension? Should I have waited? Should I have looked to go to another team with more players because people aren't going to come here in free agency?
We'll dig into it further. Go ahead, James.
I just want to explain to people, who, and I understand everybody has to be quote unquote professional, but just because you sign a 5-year deal does not mean that you have a 5-year commitment to one team. You have a 5-year commitment to the money that you signed for. I just want to specify, this is a new age. We've seen Kawhi Leonard get out of a situation. We've seen Anthony Davis get out of a situation. We've now seen James Harden get out of a situation. We will continue to have conversations about people like Bradley Beal, who is in Washington, who there have been stuff about, could he be a Laker? Could he force his way out of Washington? And I said it the moment it happened. Just because Giannis signed a 5-year deal with Milwaukee to be the highest paid player in North American sports does not mean that he will be with Milwaukee for 5 years if their front office and team cannot put him in a position to win a world championship. That is the reality of where we are in today's NBA, where player empowerment, players can get to where they want to be.
Yeah, but though everybody that we talk about in player empowerment and signing supermax deals or long-term extensions, they don't ask to be out after one season. That one season would be a bit much. You got to kind of, if he was to go walk in there after this season and be like, yo, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want this anymore. You just signed a max deal, man, like 7 months ago. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Now, if he did it 2.5 years from now, I think that.
So, Keith, what if 2 years they don't get out of the Eastern semifinals?
Yes, now the frustration, 2 years, the frustration, 2 years. But not after one season.
Yeah, I never said one season.
No, I'm just saying, not after. I wanted to make it clear, and you were not talking about after one season. You're talking about down the line. Down the line, of course. But after 1 year, 2 years, it would probably be a PR nightmare for him, considering that he said what he said about wanting to be, this is my home, this is my town, I want to be here. And then you look up, 24 months later, and you're talking about you want to get out.
There's no doubt about it. And Jay made up the most interesting point of all. You're right. It's the age of player empowerment. Just a reminder that as of yesterday, the Houston Rockets controlled James Harden's rights for the next 2 years. 24 hours later, that whole thing blew up. Very interesting point there by Jay. And probably, as Jay said, it's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the biggest names in basketball. If they want out, as Keyshawn has said, in any sport, if they want out, eventually they'll get out.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.